Okay, today, as Annie said already, we've got a terrific set of panelists today. We have Ayesha Temuri, who's Enterprise Data Officer for Telenor. We have Beatriz Ortega, who's Business Development for Red Hat in EMEA. And I'm also delighted to have Eva Ulicevic, the VP of Architecture, Strategy and Analytics from Telefonica, Germany. Welcome to you all. I think we have everybody. That's terrific. Ayesha, I would like to start with you. My first question. We had a great prep session with all the panelists on this, but could you provide some kind of overview for how Telenor sees its business challenges and where you see AI playing a role in delivering a transformational outcome? We talk a lot about the how, which we will get into, but I want to start today's discussion with a little bit of the why. How does Telenor see its challenges in the wider world?
Thank you, Rob, for having me here. AI is a disruptive technology, and if someone say there are no challenges, it's not true. Challenges are integral part of how we are dealing and learn, and then distinguish us as a new person and contribute to our future resolve. Before talking about the challenges, let's talk about the stack and more significant value chain for AI and how to build the end user application on top of it. My specialization is mostly in LLM and Gen AI. So I little deviate with more focus on Gen AI. As I said, I hope it's okay. There are several opportunities across generative AI value chain, but the most significant one are the user applications. So when we talk about the user application, I should please permit me to talk about a little bit about the stack. In the stack, there are several different layers, and I'll briefly talk about a little bit about everything, and then we will move back to the challenges question. The underlying layer is a computer hardware, the computational power of CPU and GPU that AI models will consume. Accelerator chip optimized for training and running those models are coming into this part of the journey of the stack. Then come in the cloud platforms that are the inner, how CSPs are talking to the infra layer. Stack also contribute to the foundation models, that's the third layer, and the core model on which the generative AI applications can be built. Fourth layer is a stock in the model hubs and ML ops, tools to curate, host, fine-tune, or manage the models itself. Fifth layer talk about B2B application, customer application, and the top of the whole stack is the service layer, which is a customer-facing layer. It services specialized knowledge on how AI is going to contribute. The real opportunity comes in that top two layers where the customers are coming in. And now when we talk about the challenges, let me move towards the challenges question that you have asked in the start. Still the time we are not talking about the below two layer, that is the generative AI need knowledge and lots of it to create this content. And OpenAI GPT, like you know, it has about 45 terabyte. And if I can just say how much 45 terabyte look like, it will be nearly 1 million feet of bookshelf space, you can say. So to train this size of models, there are graphic processing units and tensor processing that are GPUs and CPUs. So how I'm happy and lucky to be representing an organization that address those challenges in the start of the journey. And this is the partnership model we have currently with NVIDIA and AWS. So how we did that was NVIDIA recent partnership and AWS are managing the first two layers of the ecosystem. And this is distinguishing us towards our goal towards AI first telco. How carefully we are managing these layers in the stack and how quickly we are addressing the challenges in the community to get the right partners' expertise will eventually determine the success and monetize these use cases in AI. And this is where the journey starts. Yeah.
So a combination of that user interaction, you mentioned some content generation, and then into monetization. So it seems kind of across the board. This isn't just a kind of cost saving measure. There's upside here as well. Beatriz, good morning, welcome. In the beginning, I mentioned some transformative enabling technologies, and arguably open source Linux would certainly qualify, I think, as one of those in the last few years. I know at Red Hat you've been working with telecom way before AI and so on, at least 20 years. So you must be talking with a lot of different telco customers. Where do you see this transformative potential for AI? And are there any, aside from Telenor, obviously, are there any other operators you call out as some great examples of what sort of benefits are achievable?
Thank you, Robert. I'm happy just to be here. Yes, open source technology and particularly Linux have indeed just been transformative enablers, laying the foundation for innovative across industry. Okay, Red Hat's long-standing collaboration with telecoms operator over the past 20 years has provided just deep insight into their evolving challenges and opportunities. From my perspective and discussion with telco customers, the transformative potential of artificial intelligence in telecom industry lies in several key important areas. We can talk about the network optimization and self-healing, okay, where AI enables just dynamic resource allocation, predictive maintenance, and fault detection. This could reduce downtime and operational costs while ensuring just optimal network performance, particularly crucial in the era of the 5G, the edge computing and IoTs, okay? But as well, we can just talk about customer experience engagement. Powered chatbots and virtual assistant in the most of the case based in LLMs, as I was saying before, are revolutionizing just customer services, offering personalized real-time support. By analyzing customer data, AI can also proactively just address potential issues, improving satisfaction and just retention with a personalized offering. Another topic is and it's very, very necessary, the operational efficiency and automation. We can talk here about hyper automation. That is one Gartner definition that is combining automation with AI, with the APIs, and with observability. That is transforming the operation, automating repetitive tasks, and just enabling intelligent decision-making, empower telcos to do more with less. Okay, and in the last point, we can talk about a lot of points, okay, but perhaps we can talk about the new business models and services, because AI enables telco to offer innovative services such as a smart home solution, IoT platforms, and tailored B2B services, driving revenue growth and differentiation. Of course, it's only one technology more. So we need platform, we need another kind of solution, but sure will be easier, yes, with artificial intelligence. And you were asking me if we have another examples. I have plenty of examples about how one of my preferred one is Telefonica, but Eva can tell just better than me about the Telefonica. For me, is one excellent example about how to leverage data to generate insight and knowledge for internal use and for B2B, because they had one program named just Luca in order to provide analytics and artificial intelligence application. So one example could be Smart Steps, okay? The one service that predicts ground movements and offers this data as a value asset for improving internal planning or enabling just external services such as travel optimization or B2B locations. And it's public as well that Telefonica is also deeply invested in the development of autonomous network, combining the power of automation with AI capability. But I'm quite sure that Eva can talk better about that, okay? So, but another example could be Orange, because Orange employs artificial intelligence to enhance its cybersecurity efforts, okay? Automating threat detection and response while improving just customer support through advances, analytics and AI prediction. Verizon, that is one company that Red Hat is working close, okay, leverage artificial intelligence for predict customer support and network optimization by integrating generative artificial intelligence into its support system like assistants, okay? It improves just customer satisfaction and loyalty through faster issue resolution and tolerant solution. If we are going one step beyond of the Occidental, we can talk about Hutchinson, for instance, that is collaborating just with GoTo and launched just one Sahabat AI, is an AI ecosystem designing for Indonesian languages that is very new because this initiative just simplifies how artificial intelligence can be localized to serve specific markets, creating accessible and context-aware services for diverse user bases.
Yeah, those are great examples. I think you mentioned a few different things there, and again, that last point is a really interesting one. Greater data, greater intelligence, greater personalization. It's not all networks don't work the same way. They might function the same way technically, but the ways in which they're used can vary quite a lot from country to country, up to region to region. It depends on all kinds of things: holidays, festivals, cultures, and so on. So I think it's a very interesting point you're raising there about embedding AI into making that a bigger feedback loop and changing how the network is being used. Great examples. Ava, good morning. Welcome.
Good morning.
Anyone who's had a chance to look at your LinkedIn profile, we've seen that you've been involved in a bunch of pretty transformational initiatives throughout your career. Do you see the impact of AI as being, just another one of those, or are there some things that are the same, some things that are different when we think about transformation initiatives in telecom?
So good morning, everybody. Happy to be here. So what is the same in every telco transformation, whether traditional or AI-driven, a comprehensive systematical approach remains essential. Success is fully depending on the integration of people, processes, and tools into the cohesive strategy. However, as Peter Drucker famously observed, culture eats strategy for breakfast, and this truth applies universally. Without addressing cultural alignment, even the most well-crafted strategies risk falling short. In both cases, transformation requires leadership to navigate organizational resistance, foster collaboration, and install a mindset of open to change. What is different in this case is the pace of change. Unlike traditional transformations, which often follow a more predictable timeline, AI demands even more from the telcos: agility, speed, and resilience. For example, if you just consider one of our processes, which is called RFP, or a request for proposal, which is traditional procurement process we are running, it takes months until it's finalized. In the context of AI, this approach cannot be suitable. AI tools and services evolve so rapidly that by the time the RFQ process is concluded, technology could already be outdated. So this requires telcos to adapt new mechanisms for the decision-making, ones that prioritize speed, flexibility, and real-time evaluation over the traditional models. So to conclude, AI does not just demand new processes, it requires new mindset. It is, while the principles of the transformation remains the same, centered on the people, processes, and tools, the nature of AI-driven change requires telcos to reimagine the way they approach the strategy execution, decision-making, and cultural readiness. It is not just about keeping up, it's about staying ahead. Fantastic.
Really good insight, Ava. I think if it's fair to paraphrase that at all, and it really isn't, but the idea that AI is changing the nature of transformation is I think a very important idea there. This is not like previous transformations. You've mentioned changes that are much more fundamental. When we were going through big automation drives 15, 20 years ago, we weren't talking about mindset and culture. Now we are, and to your point about RFP, you're going into parts of the telco that function in a very conservative, very stable way. Necessarily so, but now the necessity is changing. I think you've been scanning my mind already, Ava, because you touched on something I want to put to Ayesha there, which is really about some of that change, about organizational change, process change. I wanted to find out, are there any examples, Ayesha, of changes in business process, changes in organization that have taken place in Telenor as a result of kind of adopting much more of an AI-first, AI-friendly approach? I mean, are there teams that don't make any sense anymore to have, or are there new groups that you created, or just different processes all the way through even some of the commercials, RFPs, RFIs, and so on?
Rob, actually, the change is not only intrinsic, it's also extrinsic. The focus, what we telco CSP sometimes don't consider is customers are always the forefront of technology. So these innovation, if they are internal, yes, they are possible to have those internal stakeholders aligning with those speed of the process and speed of the technology, how technology would be moving ahead. But at the same time, every initiative that the CSP is taking these days has to have a direct impact on the customer. If the customer is not the part of the overall value chain, these initiatives intrinsically will not be useful for the telcos as far as their TTM or their ROI is concerned. So how we can leverage this potential particularly is, yes, I agree with Eva on the invoices and all these things that are coming up, and they were taking years and days and all these things. And this particular case has been very properly organized by the use of RAGs. And RAG is generally like, it's not only the external information that the RAG is collecting, it's also the internal policies, processes in the organization that are there. So these, a few examples. One example is like before this, there were just a few technology transformation organization which was impacted under the CTO organization usually. But now AI is not only transforming CTO organization, it's also transforming CFO's business, CHRO's business, other businesses within the organization. And they are now coming to the people who are driving AI to come up with the use cases that could be useful. Like in our case, customer experience team is very much focused on how this generative AI journey could help them analyzing those digital channels and how to have those IVR bots or digital bots there so that the customer answers could be easily taken care of before there is, and even it is helping the agent sitting in the call center that, okay, this customer is calling me again, or this is the previous customer, and the agent is able to tell each and everything about that particular customer. So this personalization, extent of personalization that AI and LLMs and Gen AI, also the RAGs, are helping us out, this was never before. This wasn't before, and this is a huge set of information that's there, which humanly it is not possible. But at the same time, internally, we have identified about 107 use cases on different domains, and these domains are related to HR, finance, business teams, B2B, who are not only working internally for Telenor, but also externally for the customers to improve the overall experience for the customer, to improve the new products, new services, helping DevOps or development teams on how to write the code efficiently, because these lines of code and source codes and having those repositories available and all these things, and at the same time having the right partnerships with the hyperscalers, that would be important for the overall explanation. I would say, just very briefly, the answer to your question is not only internal organization, but also the customer is benefiting a lot from this whole transformation. Yeah.
Is that changing some of your internal process about how you innovate? I mean, we use this word democratization quite a lot. I mean, a little too freely, I think, to some degree. But the implication of what you're saying there is that people in the front line, for example, of customer service, now have a really integral role to say, actually, there's a better way we could do this, or there's a better experience to have. And does that change how you, rather than having a sort of centralized, 2-year, 3-year IT plan, instead, are you working much more on the sense of, okay, what new possibilities have we discovered today? You mentioned 107 use cases. Is that creating a sort of flood from the edge of your business back into the center about innovation? Is that a change in process rather than to use Eva's example, this sort of 3-year RFP example?
That's a very good question, actually. These 107 are not related to the LLM or data, only that in AI or generative AI. We have to transform everything from the start, from the data engineering, the architecture part that you have rightly mentioned about the logic to moving it from the monolithic servers towards the architecture design and the logical architecture, making the best use of cloud available resources, making the best use of our own internal IT team to work closely with this overall transformation and making a right operating model to work through all this. So the AI use cases related to the customer journeys, they are few, and we are just working on those data science models and all this, which are very much in place. Like one is that many CSPs are already using it, how to reduce, because this remain the churn remain the most very, very important aspect. So the next best offer are the offers through specific customers and all these things. At the same time, architectural modernization should work hand in hand together. The use case related to the virtualization layer of the architecture, because now virtualization, because if the data transfer become very difficult within the organization, then there would be, and there are many different tools who are making it very much possible how the architecture will look like in future. So we are modernizing at the same time on the IT node, and this is called data engineering. And then data science, where there are model building and this foundation models are there. And the third part is customer AI, Gen AI use cases that can easily benefit customer. But before going towards that, this architecture modernization and the two part that I mentioned before, they need to be very clearly understood. And in the second part, where the innovation comes in for the data science models, it's very important that these data scientists should be abreast with the new technologies, what's going on. They should not be sticking to the few smaller modification, because what we are seeing in the organizations, our data sciences are coming from the different industries, and they are not the subject matter experts sometimes. So they don't understand the value of making those models and writing those codes for the overall business. So it's very important that data science team should be connected with the business teams, so that the end user, which is our customer, should be benefited in that.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. There's a natural segue as we started to talk a little bit more about technology. Beatriz, when you get involved in telcos, I mean, you know, the sort of systems estates as a whole have been created, you know, and built and evolved over time for really a much different kind of context than we have right now. Very much, you know, a kind of management of network and so on, a network that doesn't change very often. What do you see as needing to change within the sort of systems estates of telcos and architecturally, if they're going to make the best use of AI?
Yeah, Ayesha was mentioning just the most of them. So, but really, when we can see in the market, yes, the most advanced telco are prioritizing just several transformative changes in their system. But there are three main areas that are looking for just agile, data-driven, and scalable ecosystem. Okay, but there are the three areas are data, ecosystem, and artificial intelligence algorithms and models. The three of them are related, okay? So when we are talking, for instance, about data, so unified data strategy is essential, okay? Because telco needs just to have one unified approach, okay, to data management. This involves just breaking down data silos across operational, customer, network system, security, enabling just seamless access to the high quality and well-governed data, because artificial intelligence thrives on data. Without centralized or strategy, clean and accessible data, training AI models and deriving actionable insights become challenging, okay? So data is crucial, and I think data is on the hands of primarily, yes, of the telco. But the data are not static, so I think we need just to enhance observability and monitoring as well, okay? Because telco needs to enhance observability by integrating artificial intelligence with observability tools we can talk in Red Hat about open telemetry or eBPF to collect, analyze, and act on telemetry data in real time, because the artificial intelligence models needs live insight from the network and system to adapt to changing conditions and make precise decision and predictions. If we talk about ecosystem, as mentioned before by Ayesha, yes, we need just to talk about the modernized infrastructure, okay? So the transition from monolithic, hardware-centric architecture to flexible cloud-native environments, because artificial intelligence languages is and will be cloud-native. Artificial intelligence workloads are computationally as intensive that I mentioned before, and require scalable infrastructure. Cloud-native architecture just enables dynamic scaling, resourcing optimization, and faster AI deployments, because the models that we are building now are the basic foundation just for more complex models that we will build in the future, okay? And it's necessary, sometimes we are not talking about the automation and the orchestration layer, and it's essential as well, okay? Because implement an intelligent orchestration layer that integrates artificial intelligence with the automation will enable just the hyper-automation in order to answer in the right time, okay? Just for the right trigger or input, okay? To achieve the scale and efficiency that is required for artificial intelligence operation. The telco needs automate and adapt artificial intelligence insight that seamlessly apply then to process like a network optimization or full resolution and customer management. But artificial intelligence requires just development and deployment pipeline. So one ecosystem able just to connect data science with the operational. You know that more or less the 75% of the models are failing when they are going to the production, is because when we are creating a laboratory, sometimes it's isolated just from the production system. So just one current framework that is able just to connect the data science with the production, establishing just robust machine learning operation pipelines to develop, deploy, monitor, and iterate artificial intelligence models efficiency. That is more or less the same. We can talk about open source and interoperability because it's necessary. Red Hat, is convinced that the future of artificial intelligence is open source, okay? The transition to open source frameworks and platforms to ensure interoperability and adaptability to the production in the most of the cases, in the most of the cases that are legacy environments are crucial as well, okay? So proprietary system limit flexibility, making it harder to adopt and scale AI. So open source solution provide a modular approach to evolve with technological advancement. So we can talk about security, privacy, just enhancement, but more or less that is the three main topics, okay? Take care about your models, just take care about your environment, because you will require agility and scalability, and take, of course, necessary, just the fuel of this AI is the data. So take care of your data and just take care about how your data is changing.
And in your experience, how much of what you described there is already part of a modern IT strategy, and how much is still new because of AI? Do you see what I mean? I mean, we've been talking about modernization for a long time, and again, technical people love to stay, ahead of the curve, with their innovations and architectural changes. Are we, for a modern telco, I mean, even a reasonably forward-thinking one, are they 70% of the way there already in terms of that infrastructure and systems estate, or 20%, or I know it's hard to generalize, but do you have a sense of how ready they are, or is the impact of AI really a big change, big shift from where they already are in terms of that, I say, that systems architecture?
Yeah, it depends on which customer we are talking about. So there are customers that are thinking about the architecture just a long time ago, and they are just ready just to admit just a cloud native, for instance, or just they are working in automation for a long time ago. So in this case, it's easier, okay, or it's faster. And we have other customers that, for instance, are more focused in another customer experiences area or that kind of things, okay? So in general, okay, the depends. I cannot say 1%, okay, but perhaps we need just to work. At this moment, the focus is in the algorithms, okay? Everyone is looking for the use case, okay? But data governance and data health is more than necessary, okay? And it's a complex program in order to implement in a huge telco.
Sure. Okay. So really, the message is, in thinking about AI, don't think that it's going to be localizable. The benefits come when you're doing it at scale. The benefits come when you make that big investment. It's a bit like, one of the reasons why the whole, VNF activity didn't really kind of succeed as planned was that telcos didn't swallow all of the medicine.
That's right. That's right.
Virtualize one function, but as long as it still does the same job as the old one, you don't get the economies of scale unless you take the whole finish the course of the medication, as it were.
Definitely.
Ava, this takes me naturally to another point about investment, about how much to invest in this thing called AI. If AI is going to be transformative for telcos, it's probably going to take some investment. And in the market today, we're seeing a range of different things. We're seeing enormous, multi-billion-dollar investments made by telcos. I'm thinking of people like SK Telecom and so on. Some of that is around infrastructure. That whole GPU as a service. I mean, it's somewhat speculative at this stage, but there's a lot of money going into it. But how should telcos calibrate that kind of investment in AI with some of the, if you like, more internal things that we're talking about here, the customer service things, the network things? How do you know whether this is a $300 million investment, 30 million, 3 million? Help us understand kind of how telcos should be thinking about that, where the value is and how much to spend.
Okay. So calibrating telco investment in AI infrastructure is indeed a critical question for us as we are navigating to the AI-driven future. And from my perspective, it can be looking from like this. First, as already mentioned in this forum as well, and re-emphasize, we are having a lot of emerging telco-specific use cases. Everybody of us are working on the set of the use cases in the area of network optimization, predictive maintenance, hyper-personalization of the customer experience, etc. And we do need to have infrastructure, as mentioned by Ayesha, in order to support all of these use cases. And we should start by investing in AI infrastructure in order to enable to scale these use cases, which is for our internal change and embracing AI. On the second point, we are also looking, many telcos, including, of course, Telefonica, we are looking to expand our business models beyond traditional connectivity. For example, Open Gateway is one of the initiatives which we are driving beyond the connectivity and offering AI infrastructure as a service or GPU as a service aligned with this trend, especially in the regions where the digital transformation is accelerating and demand for AI capabilities are high. So by combining internal needs with external opportunities, telco can create dual-purpose infrastructure that serves their operation and generates revenue streams. Now to your question, how we manage it on the end with our bottom and top line and bottom line. So first, when we make a decision, should we go that way or not, we need to look a little bit on some criteria. The first one, what is our infrastructure strategy? How we are approaching getting proper infrastructure for us internally, and do we have proper partners in this place? What is the market dynamics, what we are having? What are the demands in the market we are operating for AI services? And are the policies and regulations incentivized for building such infrastructure? And then the most important is that we do phased approach in investment, that we don't invest in advance with a big amount of monies, but we do some pilots or test the market and scale up based on the demand and performance. This minimizes the risk, allowing in the same times to do the iterative learning and adaptations with the go-to-market strategy. So, and then the last but not least, it's about partnership. It was already mentioned. We need to collaborate with the partners in like tech companies, governments, or enterprises in order to share cost and mitigate the risk. And that's why, having said that one, this approach positions telcos as enablers of broader society AI adaptations, while we are still able to maintain financial prudence.
Okay, so it's very much a balanced approach, and you need to factor in multiple aspects there, including what you're already spending on. I think implicit in what you said there is cloud and partnership and hyperscale partnerships. Cloud is a great answer where things are unpredictable. So, it's one of the ongoing arguments in telecom, as you know, is the question of which workloads to put where, and those workloads that, they don't do very much different from month to month, year to year. keep them local. But the things that are experimental, put them in the cloud, because you don't know, are they going to take off, or are you going to suddenly need spikes of resources to support those. So I think that's implicitly kind of tied up with all of that, the question about the use of cloud. Very relevant. Ayesha, I want to go back to something that you mentioned at the start in passing, and again, if everyone else has a view about this, one of the things I find a little confusing at the moment is whether the goal of the use of AI is to have a transparent effect on end users. So in other words, to make AI so that they don't notice that they're not dealing with humans, as it were, or is the goal the exact opposite, which is to say, look at what we can do when we don't involve humans? I know this is a slightly subtle point, but I think it's important because AI is already in all of the devices that we're walking around with every day. We really do take it for granted in many trivial and everyday ways. But in terms of telcos, I'm still interested in understanding whether telcos are trying to create genuinely new experiences that feel almost impossible, if you like, to users. They're so impressive that they could only have been created, through the use of AI, or whether the goal is to try to humanize AI and make it feel like there are humans involved. Ayesha, any thoughts on that from a Telenor perspective? Are you trying to break the mold of things in a way that users would see, or are you trying to keep things kind of comfortable, just more efficient?
This is a very common question, actually. I've been part of a few conferences where people were saying that humans would be, since AI is there, now humans will be out of this loop. So that is not the case. The case is that humans should be there in the loop, and the AI humans could be benefiting. Because naturally people were of the view that AI is replacing jobs, humans would be out of this, customers would not benefit. So it is not possible that you can just deloop humans out of this loop. The whole value chain is basically, the technology is there to support humans, not to just bring them out of the loop like that. So humans are definitely needed to do better jobs. I'll come to the customer question, but for the people who are thinking that the AI can replace their job, this is not the case. Actually, the humans are supposed to do more humanized jobs, more critical thinking, more curiosity, more passion, or some kind of things that are very, very specific to human beings and very much emotional to human beings, rather than the machines doing the clerical kind of work and the day and night kind of jobs and simpler jobs that machines could handle. So it is basically, the AI is to benefit humans, not to deloop them from out of the value chain. Second question about customer. How come you can just make every AI initiative not transparent to customer and they don't know what's going on in the organization? Every organization take this as an honor or benefit that they are using AI for their internal processing. But these internal processing, and there are big announcements everywhere, and sometimes I'm surprised to know that people are writing job titles on AI, even though they have nothing to do with AI. Every person wants to use this word as a part of the overall thing. So how come these big telcos are not benefiting the whole thing and making customer not seeing what they are doing in AI? First of all, within the internal processes, customer need to know what's going on, how AI-driven this organization is, how technology they are using it. But this technology has to be for the benefit of the customer, and this for the benefit of people and humans, and this is eventually the customer. So customer is definitely getting the maximum benefit for it. So if you can see, if somebody is browsing Telenor site and they are using the data, so how come this AI, even though there is no human involved in that, but AI, we have our own RAGs working on the different knowledge platforms and all these things, and nobody is definitely interacting with the customer, but AI is providing the right information, right support to the customer. So it means that company's vision to move towards AI is basically to support customer, improve the customer experience, and eventually benefiting, because your question with Eva was more difficult and more I think it's difficult to answer the question on the cost and benefit and ROI part. But at this point in time in the world, we are working very hard to benefit our customer, and customer remain the forefront of technology for Telenor and all other CSPs at the same time. Yeah.
Okay, that's great. I know we're getting a little tight on time. There are a couple of questions I do want to ask, and we've had some questions in as well. What I'm going to do is kind of fuse a couple of those together, if you don't mind. Beatriz, I want to pick up on a question that's been asked here, which really is about readiness. It's how do you get from proof of concept into pilots into full production and addressing some of those challenges like data quality, integration, ROI measurement, those kind of things. Any views on that? Is there a good way and a bad way to do that?
About the quality and integration of the POCs that we are having now?
About how you scale up. How do you go from terrific pilot, that's been great. It's not just kind of push your foot on the pedal. There's more to it than that. You have an understanding of what are those other factors that have to be addressed when you're in that transition from a pilot to production.
Okay, so the first one in the pilot, we are checking just the LLM or the model, okay? But it's crucial when we are going to production, is just to manage just the data strategy and accessibility that we are having, okay? It's not the same just to have one model with 1,000 of data that just having just millions of customers with data that are changing our time there, okay? So as mentioned before, data and observability is crucial. And a very good program of the data is crucial. So real-time robust mechanism is essential there. If you have a cloud adoption for the infrastructure, you will have the scalability better well prepared in order to do that. So the adoption with cloud native architecture will be better. The integration, as Ayesha was saying about GPUs or AI accelerators is required specifically for Gen AI will be better. Okay. So and you need just before in order to study the POC or the case, try to analyze first what is the data that you will be that you will need, and if that you will need just accelerators or not. Just you have to prepare in advance all the ecosystem. And of course, if everything is automated, if your automation maturity is good, okay, in order to establish workloads for automating process or the orchestration of the different environments or different data from the environments, we will have early adoption for even driving architecture that is required for AI. So depends on the case, depends in which is the use case that you are looking for, okay, and depends about the cultural experience, what is the maturity of your people, and it depends on the position of the real benefit that you are looking for this use case. The KPIs here is essential in order to have the measures or the maturity of the data or the benefits that you are having just with the use cases.
Sure. Okay. That's definitely it's a distinct phase in a project, is looking at how that scales up and to build that in as part of even a pilot project, have some awareness of what's coming next. How do we actually take this forward? I think that's quite important. Eva, just if I can ask you one last question here. We've touched on it here and there, but in the short kind of 60 seconds or so that we've got left, if that's fair. I mean, what would you say are the key factors in determining whether a transformational strategy based on AI is going to be successful? Are there a set of bullet points that are absolutely, these factors are the most important?
So I think we already discussed it in this panel, but let me maybe summarize. The first thing is you need to have proper people with proper skills and proper vision and leadership in order to execute upon that strategy. The second one is processes, what you are having, and you need to choose the proper tools and technologies in order to execute upon your AI ambition. But I would re-emphasize one important point: AI cannot work without the data. So if we don't have proper data infrastructure and management in place, which not only take care about collecting, storing, and process data efficiently, but also ensure data quality, accessibility, what you call data democratization, and governance, then you will not be able to execute or to leverage the benefit of AI.
Question at the top was a very simple one. Is AI transforming telecom? If I could get a brief yes or no from each of you. Ava, I know you have to go very soon. It's a yes or no question.
Definitely.
Okay.
It's revolutionary us and not only transforming us, yeah?
Beatriz, yes or no?
Yeah, no, because the technology never is the reason of the transformation. It's only one tool in the transformation idea. Okay.
Ayesha?
I have yes and no, because
okay. That's
Telco has to go a long way, and there are guardrails, and there are some critical aspects of because they are very, very much regularized at the moment. And this hyperscalers are also not focused on truly on AI. So this is very important that there should be some very clear ecosystem for AI to execute. But it's very good in other industries like retails and banking. They are more focused and they are leveraging AI better than telcos. But at the moment, no.
In telecom, we set our stall fairly high. Transform. I mean, let's see the evidence. There are one or two questions kind of indicating that I think there's a mood in the industry. We're still waiting for that transformational difference. We know what AI is, but the impact it's going to make is still a little bit up in the air. Are we going to see telcos reinvent themselves through AI? Let's wait and see. We're not seeing it just yet, but certainly a significant impact. Appreciate everybody's time this morning. Thank you so much for your time. That's been a very interesting conversation.
Yes, Ava, Beatriz, Ayesha, and Robert, thank you. That was terrific. We look forward, and we hope you'll come back and continue this discussion in a few months and see how we've progressed or not. But thank you. That was a terrific opening session.